In 3, 2, 1. Wow, not even close. Episode 135. We're more out of sync than ever. Moto Academy podcast featuring Albert.
135.
Yeah, 135.
Wow.
I feel like, honestly, I say this every episode, but I feel like we've done way more than that, to be quite honest. So I don't know who's keeping count, but it seems a little questionable. So featuring yours truly, Albert, and our absolutely lovely and not 100% white co-host, Dave.
But it should matter.
But it doesn't really matter.
Matter.
And this episode, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're gonna talk about, we both went riding. Okay, so we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Moto Academy Supercross, our first open practice. It was epic. We're going to talk about that. We have
to. Yep.
We're going to talk about New Jersey Field of Dreams 2-day class that we had on our tour, and it was epic. We're going to talk about that. And then finally, for 2 seconds, we're going to talk about MetLife Supercross, because I went there with the Mill Dogs and we stayed for 1 hour and then left. So maybe we could start. Maybe we could start there.
I told you also. What did I tell you last week? What did I tell you to do if you were going to MetLife?
Oh, let you know. Well, this is why I didn't let you know, is because I knew it was going. I knew what was going to happen, and I'm so glad I didn't make you fly all the way there, because you wouldn't have seen us. So we went to the city the night before. What am I doing here?
Where'd you guys stay?
We stayed at the Intercontinental in Times Square. It was $680 for the night, and it was the most underwhelming $680 I've ever spent in my entire life.
I knew you were going to tell me you stayed Center City somewhere, which is like not the best. Dude, Times Square, you're not going to find the best of anything around there. And you should know better. You should know better.
I don't know the city that well. Allie's dad knows the city extremely well. He didn't want to stay there, but it was a quick get out of the city to get to MetLife, which is where I was just trying to find something that was kind of close and easy access to MetLife. But I regret it big time, because we stayed in the city last year, and actually we stayed in Financial District, which I guess typically isn't a spot that you would go either, but we stayed at gosh darn it, you would probably recognize the name of it, and it was awesome. It was so cool. It was probably in the $500 range to $600, so like starting to get expensive. Yeah. But it was what you would expect for that, right? Like a proper check-in process of like, they make you feel wanted. The restaurant was super good. This place, I just could not believe. I'm like, they're charging people this much money to stay here, and it felt like I was checking into a Super 8.
Yeah, honestly, because you're at Times Square. So Financial
just
District,
because they're sick of dealing with all the stupid tourists and they're just over it.
It's basically like it's like a tourist area. So basically they can charge whatever. I mean, a Super 8 could charge $500 there because it's Times Square. People want to stay in that area and they'll do whatever. So same reason why there's like a TGI Fridays right there. That's usually a little bit higher price than TGI Fridays you'd find in one of the other boroughs. So
lesson learned.
You should know better. Call me next time, dude. Upper East is always good. There's spots in Queens you could stay. That's pretty quick. But I've never stayed in Financial District, but it's good eats around that area. Like even somewhere around like Union Square, you'd find a decent setup, but never Times Square, buddy. I'm disappointed.
Well, lesson learned. So we stayed in the city, and then the next morning, we had a good dinner. I don't know where we went, somewhere near Bryant Park, and got some sushi, which was good. And then the next morning, we spent the morning just went to Rockefeller Center, just shopped in kind of all the shopping areas around there. Went to American Girl, the American Girl dolls.
American Girl doll store, yeah.
Holy crap, that store is unbelievable. They had not a barbershop, they had a salon for the dolls. And then also the girls, this is pretty cool. The girls could kind of get their hair done to match the dolls, but they could also bring their dolls in to get whatever hairstyle. This place was, the whole time I'm walking around it, I'm thinking about how amazing of a business model this whole thing is. But
for sure.
It was nuts. So we spent the morning doing all that. So Millie was loving it, but completely exhausted. So by the time we roll into Supercross, it was a day race, thank goodness. Night show started at 3. We rolled in there at 2. and I had an interview. I was supposed to do race day live for the broadcast, and then I ended up just doing the live stadium interview. So they brought me onto the podium at like I was the last interview right before opening ceremony. So we get chauffeured down to the stadium floor. Millie didn't know why we were there at first because we didn't go into the pits. So she didn't know we were there for dirt bikes. So when we go down in the stadium floor, and then it's just Plessinger and Mookie roll by, Justin Hill comes by and says hi. She was just bike. She was so pumped.
Yeah.
Walk out to the stadium floor. Got to see a few people that I hadn't seen in a long time, which was cool. Got to talk with Lurch a little bit. Is that his name? Lurch?
Yeah.
Lurch? Is that it? Why does it sound weird as I say it out loud?
You are so disconnected from the sport.
Well, yeah.
It's so crazy. When's the last time you stepped on the podium?
LCQ interview, probably.
What year was that?
Well, last time I specifically remember winning an LCQ would have been with, you were probably there, and AJ Whitrock, right? And it was Detroit Supercross, probably 450. Yeah. So that's the last time I can actually remember.
Which is crazy to me because you led wire to wire. It was great, but also frustrating because in that moment we were like, dude, he just went wire to wire in LCQ. Why don't we do this all the time? It's not like you just like won, but you were battling, whatever. It was like a Sexton level, like wire to wire. It's like, it's so frustrating how like a light switch the results were that year. It's like, come on, dude.
I know. Come on. And I think I kind of yarded him too. And I want to say it was like Chisholm who got second. It wasn't a slow LCQ. And
no, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, well, trust me, I know. Story of my life.
You were exhausted.
Oh yeah. Because I didn't breathe the whole race. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we have the clip somewhere where AJ is just saying sweet nothings into your ear, and I run over. I'm just like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, AJ was so pumped.
We don't have to watch from the stands.
I don't even remember what year that was. So, yeah, I absolutely fired on all syllables up on the podium. And which was cool that I'm the last interview because it's just good timing because then everybody's funneled in. Like opening ceremonies was in 3 minutes, so everybody's in there. I got to plug Moto Academy like a million times on the short little interview, which was good. The speakers were working nice, but it was just enough of a delay from me talking to me hearing it in the stadium to where that can really throw you off if you aren't careful. Shouted out Millie. I said, this is my daughter Millie's first Supercross. Her third word ever was bike, so I'm in trouble. And so that was cool. We watched one heat race. She kept doing this and yelling bike, like super excited. And then things went downhill quick. So we just got out of there. She was toast. So I basically, on the drive home, I just tried to listen to and peek at it every once in a while and watch all the rest of the races on the way home. I didn't know, because I never know what's going on, about Jerry Robin until this morning. Was this a known thing? Was it like, did people know on Saturday that something that it was not great?
I think it was a practice crash. I didn't hear about it until super late last night when I got back from riding. So I saw that dude. I wanted to text him. Obviously, he's gonna get flooded with a bunch of texts and stuff, but heartbreaking for somebody that we know, man. It's one thing, because the sport is one big family. Like, it's one thing when you see somebody that's hurt and you're like, man, my heart goes out to them because you put yourself and your loved ones in that position. But when it's somebody that you know and you've talked to, you've interacted with, you've known them for years, it hits different, man. And you and I have buddies that got hurt over the years and wheelchair bound and stuff like that. And it really hits you when you see something like that with the sport that we love. So yeah, to see Jerry in that position, man, like, I'm sending up prayers for him. I'm hoping that everything, works out well for him and he heals up soon. But man, what a unfortunate break for such a nice person, man.
Yeah, right at the height. I mean, he was just on Gypsy Tales, which was a really cool interview, like having the best season that he's had. And then you go to seat bounce into a 3-in and you step on your rear brake by accident. And that's all it takes. And I didn't know anything about it. I posted a Instagram today, which I rarely do. And his post popped to the top of my feed. So it was the first thing I saw. And I just read the first sentence and it said, "This is a tough one to write." And so that's what caught my attention. And I didn't know anything. And I'm like, oh no, what is this going to be? And I read it and I was just, oh my God. And just like that.
Yeah.
It is definitely stuff like that that makes me question why I would be so idiotic to come back and race. But at the same time, it's the risk you take when you swing a leg over a bike, period, because it's not like that was another rider or a race scenario that caused that. You know, it was just a simple, for us, maybe simple seat bounce where you put your foot on the rear brake by the foot instead of the foot peg by mistake. I've done that a million times. And that rhythm lane, I will say, I was in the nosebleeds trying to watch, so everything kind of looked small, but you could just tell that rhythm section was, they were big and they were steep. Almost
that was
steeper
the
than
first,
usual. So
that was the first big rhythm after the start, correct?
Yeah. So after the start, you would have the weird janky tabletop rhythm lane where they were jumping onto it, and then the next
right-hander. That some of the hits in the middle I noticed, because I was kind of like partially driving and at the track when I watched it. But some of I think the looking at it going 2, 3, 3, like the 3, 3 in the middle, some of those were so steep, like uncharacteristically steep. And just built up a little bit bigger. And you touched on this. I believe it was the second or third race that we kind of did a breakdown where pretty much every Supercross rhythm, it's predictable. It's either a 3 foot, I think you mentioned, or 5 foot. Typically, Supercross triples are pretty standardized, the sizing and the faces, the landing, stuff like that. I feel like they deviated from that this past
They looked
weekend.
like 4-footers. I mean, they looked bigger than your typical rhythm.
Yes.
Honestly, even the lane before it, because I was looking at the tabletop, which was a weird, unorthodox section to begin with. I've never seen a section like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But the tabletop was really weirdly built too. I did like how it turned out for the 450s, that you could barely, I mean, I think 4 guys maybe at most did it, jump all the way on. And even once you got on, it was only Sexton and Roxon, I want to say, were really the 2 that I saw able to actually get off of the table and then able to go 3 out. There were a handful of guys, I think Barsha, and maybe if Webb was doing it, they were able to go onto the tabletop, but then had to roll off and go 2-2.
Yeah.
And it was just a hair slower. And that was one of those situations where you had to time on the tabletop perfect and then really use that clutch and use that preload and try to get that bunny hop effect off, but pretty technical. And then honestly, as far as the racing stuff goes, the one thing that caught my attention, and I wasn't there at this point, I was watching on TV, was 450 main event. There was 2 whoop pads back to back, which I love. The first set of whoops was a huge run in. I don't know what the TV made it look like, but in real life, I was looking at it and going, I've never seen that either. I mean, they had a full blown bull turn, and it was a solid 150 feet until you got to the first whoop. And so what that means typically is that skimming will be the line. If skimming isn't always typically the line, it's definitely going to be now, because you can't have that big of a run into whoops and then think that jumping's going to be faster.
It's not going to flow. It's going to upset you for the next section. And to me, that seeing people try to hop through it, like going through there and qualifying, I was like, man, it looks so much slower. It really did.
Yep, and guys still do it fast. Don't get me wrong. Like Webb still does it very fast, but
for sure,
it's going to be a section where the skimming is better. So that was the first thing. I'm like, all right, watch. So this will be a Sexton advantage type of track. And very first lap in Maine, it's Sexton in first, Webb in second. They get to the whoops. Sexton skims, Webb jumps. That's lap 1, and you could just see 10 bike lengths between Sexton and Webb in that very first lap. And I go, all right, in my head I go, next lap Webb's going to try and skim, because he just realized how much slower it was to jump. Sure enough, lap 2, Webb tries to skim, equal distance gap, because he can't skim whoops as good as Sexton. And as soon as lap 2 was over with, I was like, well, Sexton, unless he does something silly, this is going to be an easy Sexton win, just based on that whoop section. I know the other rhythm, he was a little faster, but just on the whoop section alone, because the entire rest of the track after long rhythm lane, so the Supercross triple, the little 2-2, and the on-off before the finish, Webb was probably faster through all that weird tight stuff.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like, Webb was able to just maneuver his bike a little bit and feel a little bit more comfortable with that on-off section before the finish, which, I love those on-off sections. But
they need more of those.
Yeah, they do. Going back a little bit, what do you think the disconnect is with Webb skimming the whoops compared to someone like a Sexton or a Mookie or an Eli? I feel like before he had the whole thing was, KTMs are better at jumping through whoops. The steel chassis they've got a little bit more compliance. It feels better. It tracks straighter. He kind of had that to lean on, but now that he's on, Japanese bike, aluminum frame, what do you think is still the disconnect for Webb when it comes to skimming the whoops? Because that's a really big piece of real estate to give up on a track. You're 10 bike lengths. That's an eternity. That's a football field essentially every single lap. What do you think the disconnect is there with Webb?
It's just what you practice more. So, I mean, think about me. I can't jump whoops because I've never jumped whoops ever. I will skim at all costs no matter what. And there's some guys that are kind of like that. I think in the sport nowadays with the short whoop rule, you have to learn to adapt. And all of the top guys, even the ones like, let's say, Sexton, Tomac, Roczen, Jet, the guys that are high level skimmers, they're also very, very good at jumping. You have to be, or else you just wouldn't be able to be that competitive. I haven't spent enough time jumping. And you can tell that Webb hasn't spent enough time skimming. He's also shorter, so that's a disadvantage. I mean, that's probably a huge disadvantage. And then you will probably tailor your bike to whichever one you're better at also. So if Webb likes to jump, then he's going to set his bike up so it's a little bit easier for him to jump. Same thing with Justin Cooper, right? Where a Roczen or a Tomac or their bikes might be set up a bit different so they can skim a little bit easier. Sexton's bike looked amazing skimming though. I mean, it just kind of sat in and it tracked because those had some edges on them. You could definitely tell. That's why guys were going to the jump line. And yeah, Sexton was killing them. Thrasher was hitting him really well in the 250 class as well. He was probably the one guy that stood out as the best in them in the 250s. Haymaker was getting through him okay, but definitely getting a little far back at the end, and he would get those kicks side to side.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I've noticed that with a few guys in the 250 class, but the Cowie riders, it's like when they get towards the end of the set, especially if there's some hooks and some chunks taken out, it seems like their bikes are a bit more reactive. Like it's almost like they're going through, and obviously like Mitch knows his bike, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But
I think it's just getting your weight back. I think it's just that little bit of, and every PC rider I can think of, that's kind of how they ride a little bit. They tend to get off the back of the bike in certain situations. That's enough to make the bike reactive.
Yes. So the reaction is almost like the bike is like packing. And then towards the end, boop, there you go. And then it flings you. So like back of the bike, constantly compressing that bike more than you probably should in that scenario. And then towards the last 4 to 3 whoops, boom, there's that, that aggressive rebound kick. So I wonder if there's something to say about that. But also I noticed Roczen, who's always great in the whoops, he seemed like he had a lot of control on the heat races and then leading into the main as well, where he could get really close to that right side of the whoops in the first both sets and ride right next to the top blocks, no problem at all. Where I was like, man, he is threading that needle, because Dave Drakes would have been like, oh my God, no, please, oh geez.
Yeah, riding the edges that takes some confidence in whoops, especially. So
yeah,
I won't dive into Moto Academy Supercross just yet, but what I will say is well, I guess let's get into it. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, nothing else really happened. Shout out Hammaker, shout out Sexton. Oh, before we have to talk about the Sexton, like 20-second lead. So that was pretty, I haven't seen that since either a mud race, which, you know, those are kind of one-offs, but those are like Stewart level 125 days gaps. I haven't seen a 20-second gap in a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was
especially 20 seconds when the guy who got second started in second. You know, it wasn't like a 20-second gap where there was a bunch of fumbling and passing of positions going on behind him. I mean, he's better.
It looks.
I mean, he's just crazy. A better. He's just a faster rider. You can't even question it. He's just a faster rider. That's why it's so amazing. Webb can do what he can to like, potentially win these championships against a guy like that is straight up faster than him.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, if you actually just like, not even like slowed down a little bit, but just got it together, you would have a 30-point lead right now. Like that ride was incredible. So I'm a little bit, as a Sexton fan, I'm a little bit frustrated, but at least
who are you calling for the championship?
Webb, right? At this point, like
I'll say Sexton. I'm saying Sexton.
I'm a Chase fan. I'm a Sexton fan. I like Webb also. I just feel like Webb, he knows he's been in this position too many times and he's clenched the title. He knows exactly what to do, when to do it. If he has to get a second, he'll get a second, but there's no way that he's going to give this up right now. You know what I mean? I don't see Webb not being able to reel this one home. So, but yeah,
well, it'll be interesting after that. After a win like that, you would think that egos start to come into play at a certain point. So it'll be interesting.
We got 3 more. TMA Supercross. I want to hear about it.
That's it? There's only 3 more?
3 more. We got Philly, Pittsburgh, Denver, and then Salt Lake.
That's it.
Whoa.
Yeah. I thought there were 5 more for some reason. Shows what I know.
Oh, jeez, dude.
It's just I'm making up rounds.
We're going to Istanbul soon. Then we're going to go to Poughkeepsie, Hartford, Connecticut.
Just Portland, Connecticut.
Just Portland. We're going to Hartford, Connecticut. Oh, that would be hilarious. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, for us. Moto Academy Supercross, Dave Drake's. We did it. We had our first open practice.
It looked awesome.
I was nervous because, and I can't wait. We have a Moto Academy Supercross social page now, so go follow it if you guys are on any social media form. But it just got started maybe 4 or 5 days ago, so we have just began kind of rolling content out. I was nervous for this open practice because I didn't schedule it. Deb, the owner of Winchester, scheduled it, and I hadn't tested the track yet. I hadn't even seen the track yet. So in my mind, I'm like, oh well, okay. I need to put out like a public disclaimer here of, hey guys, this thing's not finished yet. This track was built in the mud. It was kind of completed to its current state in the mud. So that means that some jump faces, I did a riders meeting before we started. Once everybody got there, I'm like, listen, it's going to be like us riding the Supercross tracks on press day, where you don't know what you're going to get sometimes because it's sort of like roughed in.
Yep.
And so I gave everybody the kind of the lowdown, so that way I set expectations a little bit. And so many people showed up. I mean, there was way over 100 bikes.
Wow.
Probably 300 and something total people. Like really as many people as you can kind of fit on the Supercross side. And it was middle of the week, so it was, Thursday night. Weather was perfect. And dude, the track was so much fun. The track was so much fun. I thought that honestly going into it, I was like, if people have fun, awesome. We'll get some feedback and then we'll be able to get some more time to work on this track. But after that day, there was only like 3 little changes that I wanted to make. There was 4 big 180 turns that I told Robbie to make the berms 2 feet higher. So just to create more kind of line choice opportunities, make it feel even a little bit more Supercrossy. There was a set of Supercross whoops that he built on the amateur side of it that he built the perfect size. As soon as I hit him in the first lap, because I was the first bike to touch the track, I knew right away, I'm like, these are going to be perfect. Because for me to get on top, it feels like real Supercross whoops. but they're going to be safe enough and they're not deep enough to where, people are going to have to respect them to some extent. Like,
yeah.
And sure enough, they played out perfectly. And watching people try to get through there, nobody crashed in the whoops all night, but people couldn't. There was time to be made and lost big time. So like Joe Tate was there. There was a bunch of local NESC fast guys there, and watching them try to figure it out, watching just normal C-class dudes try and figure it out and kind of double their way through. It was exactly what I had hoped for. Before the whoops, there was a table to table. Like remember back in Winchester Supercross days?
Yep.
And dude, this table to table, it was so steep in between that if you didn't jump the table to table, you lost like 2 seconds. It wasn't like you could just scrub it and be like, I don't feel like doing this jump, and you can be competitive. Like if you didn't do the table to table and somebody else was, you were going to get smoked by that guy.
Was it a super gnarly table to table? Like
pretty, I mean, it was wide open as fat. I was on a bone stock, brand new. It was my first day riding my 2025 Honda 250. It was preload, stretch the whole deal as hard as I could hit it on my stock 250F. So that's me scrubbing the double before it, setting up. The first 5 or 6 times I did it in second, but I was like at the absolute top of second. And then because I was afraid, I'm like, a stock bike, if I click third, is it just going to fall flat going into the face? Next thing you know, you're going to see me just endoing myself. And so I finally worked up the nerve to hit in third, and it turned out third had that harder pull, and it was actually better in third gear. But nobody else jumped it on a 250. The only other guys to do it were Joe Tate and Aiden Klingen, Rob's son. And
nice.
They were both on 450s. So I want to say actually that Coach Ty did it at the end of the night on the Stark, but it took him all day and the whole night to jump it, which is cool. So it's like, it's big enough to where even in the A class, you're probably only going to have the top third of the guys or maybe half the guys at best in the A class doing it, which is what I wanted. I wanted some separator. But dude, if you had seen the ruts on this place, there's so much to talk about. So sorry, because I'm excited here, but we got the dirt from digging a hole on the motocross side, right?
Okay.
So I didn't know, okay, we got a lot of dirt. Great. But what is this stuff? Is it, is there going to be rocks that come up? Is it just like silt that's going to kind of puff away? Perfect dirt. It is. We got so lucky, and it is so good. And it rutted up just like, what would it be comparable to? Honestly, it was like Detroit, like good dirt, kind of packs in a little harder, but it also
ruddy, but also not gonna rip
ruddy.
your foot pegs and okay, I get that.
Yeah, so like the perfect ruddy.
Yeah, I really like Winchester. Always has great dirt. I can't remember a time where I've been there and been like, man, I didn't have any line choices, or I've kept seeing like, rocks pop up. Like they really do a good job with their dirt. But going back to the layout, when I saw the few clips inside of our chat and stuff like that, it looked like a lot of the the mini, some of the beginners, it looked like they had a level of aggression and confidence on that track that you really don't see a lot in those classes, especially on Supercross. So it told me that this track had a really cool layout, that everybody did their homework, that it was good not only for the fast guys, but for those guys as well. As I saw that a little bit of aggression, a little bit of confidence on some, black plates and some minis. And I was like, man, that's awesome to be able to have a new track that those type of riders can feel comfortable at. That's a rarity. You really don't see that a lot of tracks. So
I was so impressed with them because when it started to get rutted up, I rusty because I haven't been really riding, right? It was my first time on that bike. It had Supercross suspension on it. So I was way oversprung for what this track was. So I was kind of having a tough time. I'm like, nobody's going to be able to, like, everybody's going to be struggling. But New England people, they know how to ride ruts. I tell you, because they were all confident in the way that this track was built. It was so cool because something that I'd be coming out of a turn in second and just, like really sitting into to try to get the triple in.
Yeah.
It was built in a way to where those people could easily charge through and push through and double it. No problem. And still have a good time and kind of jump off the third one, but it not like disrupt their flow entirely. So it was, I was so impressed. I'm like, man, such a closer starting point than what I thought. So we brought the berms higher. Robbie was there yesterday. So today is Easter Sunday. He was there yesterday and on Saturday. all day long. So he made the berms higher. He also added 3 whoops to the beginning of the whoop pad because it wasn't like MetLife type of run in, but it was a big enough run in to where I'm like, if you get a C rider that has some cojones here, it could get ugly. Like let's slow the pace a little bit, make sure they can't come out of this turn, click fourth, and like really Hail Mary it into these things.
Yeah.
So we switched that up. He had an on-off that I thought wouldn't work and nobody would be able to figure out, which played out super, super well because not many guys could get off the off. But the guys that were having to jump on and roll, it wasn't dangerous and it worked well. Then the only real rhythm of question was after that, sort of that runs parallel to the road when you pull in. It was like a 3-5-3 setup, and I really wanted people to be able to tire tap it. But Joe Tate was the only one all night that could tire tap it. It was just like not steep enough, and the lip on the outside wasn't big enough. So there was a couple tweaks in that rhythm that he made. So I think that will help it a little bit. But man, I was so pumped. The lights were awesome. The feedback from every single person was positive. I was sending every random person to go and ask for feedback too. So that way people didn't feel pressure to just tell me, yeah, it's good, and just blow smoke. I want to get realistic feedback. So yeah, freaking epic. And what we're going to do now is I finally saw, I don't know if I told you, I ordered these cool big checks. You know what I mean? So like when you're up on the podium, you can get to hold like a big check and take it. At first I saw the price of how much they cost to order them. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll just get a handful and then people can hold them up. And what we're going to do is Moto Academy dollars, right? So people, let's say you win the race, you get 200 Moto Academy dollars. So you can spend it on your next race or your next training, classes, your next tour, apparel on the website, wherever the heck you want, which is a cool concept because we can pay out every single class in that way, right?
For sure.
But I was like, I'll just get these so that way they can hold them up on the podium, feel cool, and then we just take them back. But I was like, no, people will be pumped to get a big check, to hang that up in their garage or in their bedroom. Like for a kid, that's pretty sweet. So I spent thousands of dollars, don't tell Allie, on these big checks because I thought it would be really cool. And after the first open practice day, we were going to do this just for the races, but after the first open practice, I was like, what would add another even cooler element to these open practices when we have them is make the transponders optional, right? So if you want to be a part of the lap time battle, rent a transponder or bring your transponder, slap that bad boy on. We'll have the lap times rolling. We'll have like a projector up onto the building. And then that way, just like at go-karts, you could see people's lap times in real time as they're out there. So it'll create a little bit of a competitive factor, and then hand out awards. Like you could hand out Moto Academy dollars in the check for most improved lap time of the night or fastest lap time of the 65 class, or just like kind of pick and choose the random classes that you want to award.
Which is really great because it adds another level of competition, but also you feel rewarded for the effort you're putting out there. How many times have you been to a freaking practice track and you're like, dude, I was crushing it. I know I was going so fast, and you just have to go home and tell your friends about it. No one believes you, but now you have some tangible proof. That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm pumped for that because especially for me, I was so out of shape that I was only able to do one lap at a time, but my one laps were pretty fast. So I was like, man, it would be a little confidence boost for myself, even because I could probably go faster than Joe Tate or Aiden and those guys for one lap on a supercross track, not for more than that. So I'm like, it'd be nice to see my name bumped up on the thing. So today, like I said, is Easter Sunday. This will get posted middle of this week. Tomorrow, Monday, and then on Tuesday are going to be our first training sessions. So Coach Ty and myself will be there doing really small group, semi-private lessons, which would be epic. And then, guys, April 26th, so that's going to be this Saturday, we're doing another open practice. So come check it out. You can ride a outdoor suspension. You can ride enduro suspension even, and it would be safe. But this track is so much fun. I want to say we opened the gates at 3 p.m. We went all the way to 10 p.m. So we flipped the lights on and had a few hours under the lights. It was $30 for non-members, or sorry, $30 for Winchester members, $40 for non-members. It was a blast. And we're just going to make this time even that much cooler. If you came for the first one and you loved it, the track is going to be leveled up even further. So the track changes that I just mentioned with the higher berms, more whoops, a different rhythm change. And that's going to be the idea. So as you guys ride this track, like I'm going to be pumping money into it. Again, don't tell Allie. I'm going to be pumping money into it to just make constant changes all the time. So people are always having to learn new different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped. When are you going to be able to see it? Is the question.
We have to talk about whenever you want me up there, because then I have to get a bike, dude. I have to find a bike up there and at least keep one there. But
would you ride a Stark on it? Because I've got a Stark.
Yeah, I ride a Stark. I was gonna ride one yesterday, to be honest with you, but I was so focused on getting my bike dialed in that I didn't even have time to do that. But yeah, we'll talk about whenever. Just let me know. We'll get Mary and the baby up there too to see everybody. But
we have a trip winner coming up here soon too, so maybe we need to fly you in. I can pay for your flight or something if you have 2 days to spare. Yeah, let's
we'll
chat.
Coordinate. Yeah, we'll definitely coordinate. But I'm excited. I love the fact that we're able to recognize all classes. It's not just the pros. It's not just the fast super minis. We're going to be able to really foster encouragement and confidence in the C classes, the 65 classes, people that are really making their entry into the sport.
So many women
to progress.
And so many girls, by the way, showed up.
Yes, I love that.
I couldn't believe it.
Love
like half
that.
the people there were girls. That's an exaggeration, but it was. I mean, there were so many.
I really want people to take note of like how we're going to approach this and try to bring it more mainstream with where like we're recognizing more people. And this current state of women's racing, if I can go on a rant, it's so weird to me how much the amount of support and attention has fallen off. I feel like when we were coming up, the women's class was just as exciting and fast. Yeah. But like, think about how many fast
Jessica Patterson days. Yeah.
JP Money, we had Geiger, Whitmore, Balby, all these fast women. I feel like even in our local organizations, we had so many fast girls that, you know how hard it was to race Marissa Markelon? She was so incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marissa. I love her to death. I talk to her as often as I can. But dude, we had so many fast women that I feel like it wasn't even a thing to us to like, yeah, the women are fast. Why would we not watch the women's class? Why would we not support the women's class? Why would there not be a women's practice? There's a bunch of fast women, And it's so weird to me that it's fallen off the attention and the spotlight of that so much. And I remember they had their own, they were part of the men's national series where they would go out first moto, I believe. And they would, people would line the fence, the Filik versus JP Money battles. Yep. Phenomenal, So I really wish that the sport would put more eyes on that, dude. We've got so many fast women, so many fast girls out there, and we need to shine a bigger light on that. I'm trying to work with JJ right now and do some really cool. We're coming up with some cool content ideas, some cool stuff that we can start to like rejuvenate and bring some more spotlight to this. But I want to do something for women in a big way that really shows that like, hey, they're just as badass as the men in this sport. As somebody that hopes to have a little girl that rides, it's just like yourself, AJ, with Millie. I really hope that we can start to usher in this new era of like putting eyes on women's moto and having it blow up,
You think, dude, things are different now. Having a daughter, my belief in what she is capable of is essentially infinite, right? So don't tell me that she can't do something. Don't tell me that Millie can't do something.
Yes, dude. If you talk, my child is the chosen one, dude. She can do anything she wants, dude. I got the Lisa Al-Ghalib at home, dude. I got the chosen child. She can do anything. So, I'm
That's weird, dude. Because I also have the chosen child. How's that?
Look at us, dude.
I have the chosen child. Yeah, I mean, truly, like I have a totally different perspective. And I always loved when the girls were showing up and the women were showing up to classes, but now it's even different. Having a daughter, and it's totally different. I want to provide the community for them and be able to create also faith in their ability. And that, I mean, deep down, I really believe that a girl can win a 250 Supercross race. I know people think I'm insane to say that.
I agree,
but I mean,
but it's not that crazy. Look at what we've seen. We've seen fast women kick the crap out of dudes on the track. How is that not I don't get why people say, oh, it's never going to happen or blah blah blah. It's like, dude, look at how
happened yet.
It just hasn't happened yet. Look at how fast these women are that we race with. It's super crazy. But yeah, honestly, and Another reason why I love the app is like we have such a safe place for all racers of any level, especially female racers, to come and have a really safe place to like find community, find encouragement, and I feel like all of us are WMX ambassadors at this point because we are very passionate about that part of the sport, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get like more big influencers in there. I'm gonna put a fire under JJ's ass to get her in the app more, to get a bunch of my buddies in there that I know are badass women that represent the sport well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with this.
There were so many girls killing it at
Yeah.
Winchester. I loved it. It was like every 2 seconds I turn around, I would see a ponytail flying. And I'm like, no way, another girl. How awesome is that?
Well, you know,
I was doing,
I had a ponytail back in the day, so you know
that's true. There was also a guy that was at Jolly Rogers that would do freestyle tricks over the Intimidator that had a ponytail, and that dude,
really,
I don't know his name, and I'll never remember his name, but maybe somebody listening to this podcast, he would just do tricks over the Intimidator back when the thing was intimidating, and pretty sure he had a ponytail. Pretty sure. Moto Academy Supercross. Another thing that I was doing, and Dave, I thought it was fun. I would just pop up into the tower every once in a while and just give like little pro tips. So every time like the equipment were out there or was in between practices and it'd get quiet for a second, I would just pop on and be like, hey guys, AJ here. Make sure that if you case a jump in your next practice, like try landing front tire first, see what that feels like. As it started to get rutted, I was like, hey guys, a little pro tip here. Track's getting super rutted, but I tell you what, I was just out there and I found about 7 or 8 lines that nobody had touched yet because I was riding the edges of the track. So explore a little bit, try the edges. I know it's a little intimidating at first, but you'll be amazed what you can find when you explore a little bit. And each time I would just sign off by saying toodles and then I would turn the mic off. But I was like, exciting. That was kind of a cool, it just brought a little bit of a vibe to a practice day of like people had something to aim for, something to focus their attention on a little bit. And I would bounce down there too. And before people would go out, myself and Coach Ty would kind of, give people advice when they needed it, or we were asking questions, making sure they were all good and they were comfortable if they needed help with anything. Yeah. It was like how I wanted to operate an open practice day. And that was just scratching the surface because we learned a lot already from our first one, because this was a Winchester one. This wasn't even like, this wasn't supposed to happen. They wanted to do it. So we kind of scrambled to get our ducks in a row, but it just felt a little bit different. It was cool. It felt like community already. And that's our goal. That's our goal when we do those things. What else happened? Moto Academy Supercross.
I cannot wait to get myself up in that tower with Jackson. We are going to have a ball.
Yeah. We need to, it'll be hilarious for us to be announcing those. And it's fun. The speakers work really well. So it's not like you're talking to nobody, like they can hear you. Yeah, it's really cool. Oh, another thing real quick. Considering I haven't been riding a lot lately, I did about 3 laps and then have you ever put your foot out for a corner and then you got stuck in a Charlie horse and your foot got stuck out because you couldn't bend it back to put it back on the foot peg?
Yes. I was going to text you about that yesterday. My calf locked up going through a run. I was like, oh no, we're old.
Oh, dude, seriously, put my foot out for a corner and I just got stuck out. And I just like hitting the beginning of the next rhythm section with my foot out. I couldn't get my foot back on. So
you're so old. You're so old.
Oh
dude.
my God. So I immediately, thank God, I had thrown a box of LMNT Dave Drakes into the truck because I came off and I usually mix these things light, but I just went full pack right in, chugged a full pack of actually probably the same flavor raspberry that I'm drinking now. And it's actually amazing how quickly it'll save me because I've always been that dude that'll Charlie horse and mine get really bad. And typically when that would happen, my day was kind of over. My muscles from that point on would feel like they were in slow motion. They would just kind of get stuck. And I couldn't reel it back in. Yeah, I got stuck with the leg out in the corner and then chugged the 1 pack of LMNT and I was good for the rest of the day. So it saved me. Guys, if you haven't tried to hydrate when you ride with LMNT, you are missing out in a big way. This took me 13 years of my pro career to figure out how to hydrate properly on race day. And this stuff is far above and beyond anything else I've ever had. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. You could try raspberry and 7 of the other flavors for free with your order. They also support this podcast. They also support the YouTube channel. But more importantly, it's just a good way to hydrate so you don't look like a dum-dum with your leg out for a corner going down a rhythm section because you cramp so bad.
And their
Drink
flavors
LMNT.
actually taste really good. Like as somebody that is, I'm not paid by them, but they're really good. We had them in the delivery room for our kid. Like we had a pack of LMNT, the grapefruit, I think, and then the lemon lime or whatever.
Ooh, grapefruit.
Really, really good flavor. So if that should tell you, dude, if I went out and bought that myself, but their stuff is really, really good. And support those who support your people and support the stuff that you like. So
totally. And you guys do. So shout out Moto Academy community, because the amount of people that I see drinking LMNT that are in the app is unreal. So yes, go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. I don't know if this episode was sponsored by him, but now it is. Also, hey, let's talk about, have you ever been to Field of Dreams?
Once. Actually, I've been to the motorsport, like road race side more so than the actual dirt track. Yeah.
I got a good look at the motorsport side as I was pulling in this time, and I'd never really been able to kind of see through the fence to check it out. They have like also the, race shops with apartments up above type of situation.
Yep.
I didn't realize how built out that place was.
It's super nice. Yeah, I've been trying to get you to do like a road race class with me for years. But
I would love to do that.
Dude, that track, it's treacherous, dude. When you're on like an R1, really? R6, and you're zooming around that track, they have like an off-camber, super tight chicane where you're like, it's hard to go from 140 to like 40 miles an hour to hit this chicane or whatever, but we're going to try it. Then there's one area where like your front wheel lifts up, and it's a scary setup, man. But maybe we'll do like a mini moto thing where we'll just get like XRs and TTRs and stuff and have fun.
Yeah, I know Josh Heron has invited me to his place before. I don't know if he still has or not, like down in Georgia somewhere, right?
Yeah. He's got.
And I think they ride little bikes there, which looks like a blast. Looks so much fun. So yeah, we had Field of Dreams 2 days for Moto Academy Tour. Day 1, we had our guy Cade Clayson there. So Cade raced Philly. Did he race Philly? Yeah, he raced Philly.
Yeah.
Stayed and hung out on Sunday, then taught class with us on Monday. So we had myself, Coach Ty, and Coach Cade out there for Monday.
Nice.
And thank God we had the 3 of us coaches, because the track was not muddy at all, but it was so soft and so rutted. It was just like springtime, it's the time of year where the track is just kind of going to be spongy no matter what.
Yeah.
And they had seen enough moisture earlier in the week to where this place got so rutted up on Monday that I didn't think anybody was going to be able to ride it.
Jeez.
So what we did, and this was a blast, is we had 3 coaches on 3 different stations. So we turned the kids track at Field of Dreams into basically a corner track drill station. And then they have way off in the corner of their parking lot, they had a big open kind of dirt area. And I just turned it into a sweet corner track. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was like a 7 corner turn track. And then there was also a really deep figure 8 that was cut in. So I just spent the entire day that my station was the corner track and figure 8 drill. So everybody for the day just rotated between the coaches. So for like the group 3 guys, so it was the slowest group, they started with Coach Ty on the kids track. Then they went to me to work the corner track, build the confidence even more. And then they basically, ended their day with Coach Cade. So they were able to build their confidence throughout the day to then get to the big track and work the ruts. It was a blast. Weather was super good. Cade's team had the semi there. So I felt like that was kind of an added cool factor in that we had the semi set up.
Yeah.
Cade rode his race bike and just trashed his race bike. So shout out to Cade.
That's cool. Cade's a really good instructor too, which I don't think he even realizes is he's able to articulate it. And AJ, not many top level guys, especially main event guys, can actually tell you about what they're doing and coach you. And I feel like Cade digests it really well for a lot of these beginners and people that really they need that extra little bit of confidence, right? So shout out to Cade, man. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, he's really personable. One thing Cade's good at, and he's consciously aware of this, is he purposely sort of like breaks the ice to try to get people comfortable to ask questions and to basically when you show up to class, you have to put your ego aside. It's sort of like Arven's talks in a lot in the mastermind chat with us about jiu-jitsu, right? And the fact that you have to put your ego aside when you go there, because you're going to have to be put in some uncomfortable situations, doing things that maybe you haven't tried before, trying new techniques that you haven't tried before. So if you don't teach the right way, and we have a big social media presence, right? So everybody knows us when they're coming to this thing. And you got to imagine people build this up in their head to be this big thing. It's their one chance to try to like prove to the instructors that they can do it. That it like, you got to kind of disarm everybody right off the bat. And Cade is really, really, really good at doing that. And he's aware that he needs to do that. So like he'll get the dads to laugh or the 50 kids to laugh and kind of engage. And he's aware of the psychology aspect of training. And so isn't Ty. And Coach Ty is super young. I mean, he's probably, I should know this because he's my full-time employee, but I think he's 20, if I had to guess, 22.
He's young.
He's very young.
Yeah.
And Ty is, he's definitely our coach with the highest level of ADD. No question about that. Shout out Ty. But he is so excited and so passionate that you can't help but to get into it yourself, you know? And I think that's what's cool about our coaches is that, and Mitchell's got his own thing going on. Mitchell very much like took what I had to teach him, because Mitchell spent the most time around me than any Moto Academy coach. So he has a lot of the way that I say things, but he's made it entirely his own. And he's got that dry humor a little bit. It's a little bit more, not monotone, but he's just very level-headed.
Yeah.
Similar, I guess, to the way that I teach ish.
Yeah, I would say, but there's one thing that Mitchell does really well is his students' excitement becomes his own excitement. So like, if an 85 rider goes out there and he's like, man, I can't get this, the second he does, from Mitch's constant coaching and back and forth, Mitchell is just as amped for him. So it makes it feel like you have somebody along that journey with you that is encouraging you, and it's not just you alone doing this scary thing. Mitchell makes it feel like you guys are entering this challenge together, and he's your training wheel the whole time. So that's what I love about Mitchell's coaching. And even this is before he became a coach. Man, this is Meadow Valley days back, I think, before I even had my Cowie. And I'm riding with Mitchell. We're both going over lines. And he's like, Dave, like, you got this, man. You just got to scrub this one section. Remember, I had like a decent scrub, nothing crazy. And he was like, let's go. And I was like, oh my God. Yes, you're right, Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at that.
Like I think he has a way of making you feel good about yourself.
He really does. Fostering that confidence is really his superpower. So if you do a poll, man, I don't know if you're winning top coach in your own app, man. I don't know.
I don't even close.
I don't even know if I'm top three.
I was gonna say I don't think I'm gonna would even be on the podium, especially now we have Coach Alessandro in the app, and he's from Italy. He's gonna be our European coach. And the
then feedback, I've been Grant is good too.
Grant's awesome, and everybody loves Grant. Yeah, I mean, we've got a good group of people, and what I am finding is that I think people like me the least. I think people like me the least out of anybody on the app, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Who do you think is the absolute superstar of the app? I have one person in mind, but who do you think is like? Let's say it. Okay, say it on three. 1, 2, 3. Timer, Jamie.
Yeah.
No one's touching Jamie, dude. Jamie is the people's champ.
Yeah, Jamie makes the app go round.
He does. He really does.
He's a large portion of what gives the app the community feel. I mean, and I say this every single freaking episode, so guys, I apologize, but the momentum that we have created in these last few weeks, these last few months, we've been working on that for years. I mean, version 1 of the app came out. I don't know. It's been, I'd have to imagine it's been at least 2 full years, probably closer to 3 full years. And it takes a lot of cultivation from the OG, from our employees, and then from OGs, you know, like people like the Real GP, and like, I mean, I can go on and on here, but like an Austin Bot, and I don't want to name only TMAZ people, but like a Dylan Miller, like a Shake and Blake, these people that are so committed that it makes everybody else feel comfortable to kind of dive in the same way. Right. And it's sort of, you kind of hit the nail on the head where it is a little bit of that, like that safe space to be able to dream big and not feel like somebody's going to judge you and call you crazy. Right. In fact, I'll take the heat for everybody on that, because I'll be the one that's just posting on social media, telling you to dream big, and people can think I'm the crazy guy. But yeah, it just gives everybody kind of that space to feel like they can accomplish anything. They can finally aim towards the dream that they've been wanting to get to, and have our guidance in getting there, which is really cool. I just have a different feeling about things lately. Even the tour feels different. Field of Dreams, I took a look around on day one, and the amount of Moto Academy logos embroidered onto jerseys, on full graphic kits, Moto Academy team hats. I mean, it was unreal. I had never seen anything quite like that, and I was just taken back, because we have like the Moto Academy amateur sponsorship program. We've got the ambassador program inside of the app, so we just have people that are so in it. I can't wait to start seeing. I saw another custom painted helmet got finished.
Xander those Woods. Are coming out. Oh, those are coming out so good.
And he had an A-Stars one. It was the first. It was the first Alpine Stars one I had seen finished. And oh my God, how is that going to work though? Can I wear Fox boots with an Alpine Stars helmet and canvas gear? Is that whack?
No. I will not stand for that. We either have to. I know. We either have to say no to the M10 or the M8, or we're going full Tech 10s. I'm not letting you do that.
Can I go back to the Alpine Stars after? I love the Fox boots so much. Granted, I haven't tried Alpine Stars in a while. Maybe they're. I did love them when I wore them.
The new ones are good. The new ones are solid.
When I saw that custom painted A-Stars, I think it's the best looking helmet. Do you disagree?
No, honestly, I can't disagree. I will always say I love the way the bells look. The bells are awesome. I'm a 6D guy right now, but I also have a bunch of bells on my wall and stuff. I really like the bell helmets in terms of looks. I love the 6D for safety, but those Alpine Star M10s, man, they look snazzy. I will say that. I will say
they just look mean. I'll give you that. They look aggressive. And the way that we laid the colors out for the custom paint, I don't know if we've posted Xander's helmet yet, because I hadn't seen it, but I just saw it inside of the app.
Yeah.
It's mean looking. Yeah. And the blue that we chose for the amateur helmets, it makes me want to change, because the way we did it is the AM helmets have the blue and black, and then the pro helmets, so Cadence and mine, are like that cool bright orange. It's basically like the same orange of Deegan's custom helmet.
Yeah.
It's a nice color that pops.
It's an orange. It's almost like a
bright red.
Like a fluorescent reddish orangey. Yeah, it's more than that, but it pops so well for the eye.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
Yeah, it just gets your attention, and like on TV it looks good, and in all of our content it looks good, because it's hard. Sometimes you paint a helmet or you choose a color that you think is going to look really good, and then you see it on the camera and it just doesn't stand out like you thought it would. And there's something about like that reddish orange that MRD chose that is it's really nice. So hopefully Hellion is painting all of our next sets that are coming out. So basically all of our Q2 helmets, I think, are being painted, majority of them, by Hellion, who is a painter in, I think he's actually in Southwick, Mass, or he's very close to Southwick. And Lee did all of my helmets growing up. So his colors have always been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
What else, Dave? I talked about me this whole episode. You went riding the other day, or yesterday, or today.
Yeah.
When? Yesterday.
Went yesterday. Yeah, went yesterday.
And which track? Same private track or semi-private?
No, I went to a public track called Murphy's, kind of close by Dakota, the F1 track. And solid day of riding. I will say it's tough to have to swallow the ego, put the ego aside, and go slow. Work the ankle in, realize that, hey, I got to get back to where I was with, like, keeping the eyes up and just the quickness of how your mind needs to work. Don't, staying focused the whole time. And oh crap, this is what breaking bumps feel like after sitting on the couch for a year. So that part's been tough, but it has been really good just to sit on a bike and be behind handlebars again. Do some cool just motos where you're focused on, what, today's going to be a stand-up drill day, or we're going to focus on elbows today, or foot placement and stuff like that. But I am getting glimpses of, like, I'll come through a rut and get really low in a rut, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we're still there a little bit. Just going to take some time to get back, but having to swallow the pride a little bit kind of sucks. But I
Yeah.
did get a chance to test out the Phoenix handlebar set, and ended up doing a video of, like, hey, my thoughts on the bars I had before versus the bars I have now. And I really like the Phoenix handlebar set, man.
Yeah.
I It is so freaking good, man.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. I like um a more KTM-ish style hand placement setup. And I feel like these fell right in line with that. The bar pad looks sick. The little finishing touches of the Phoenix handlebar that's like in black, so it stands out a little bit from the actual metal of the bar. Just two different kinds of blacks on there. It's just a cool, really nice, solid finishing touch. But I'm really happy with them. So I'll put
Yeah,
out
me too.
another review video of that one.
I forgot actually that when I was breaking in my Honda, I got a chance
Hmm.
to try the Moto Academy Phoenix bars on my bike
Hmm.
for the
Yeah.
first time on a Honda, because I tried them on, I feel like, honestly, I feel like I tried them on every other brand except for a Honda,
Yeah.
and loved them. Felt
Yep.
exactly, my bike honestly felt exactly like my race bike. The feeling of what I remember my race bike feeling like Nashville Supercross the last time I had hopped off it. Chassis
Yeah.
wise, bar setup, chassis wise, suspension wise, all felt very, very, very good. The only thing I will say is that a stock Honda 250 is so slow. Oh my God.
Mm,
I don't know if it was because I was just on a supercross track and I was hoping to be able to second gear sit into some jumps and like get the pop that
yeah.
I normally do on my race bike. Maybe I'm just
Hmm.
spoiled that when I do get on a 250, my memory of it is just on that race bike, I
Yeah.
guess. Um, but holy cow, my bike felt so unbelievably slow, but it did feel good. Um, when I rode at Field of Dreams,
Hmm.
he talked about getting some lean angle. When the groups were taking a break on day 2,
Hmm.
Ethan was over by me and I was getting a chance to just session my section, and I just took as much time as possible to get some riding in for myself, and just I sessioned it
Hmm.
for probably I probably hit it 40 times, just over and over and over and over, and I got the rut crazy deep.
Hmm.
I was able to drag handlebar while standing up. So
Ooh.
so that was a good feeling. So like my left boot was buried in the dirt because I was so deep in this rut, and I was able to drag my handlebar just a little bit. Like I wasn't burying it in, but I was
Hmm.
just like grazing the clutch lever in my hand just a little bit. And then I'd sit at the end of the rut and I could pop. There was like this table with rollers after it.
Hmm.
And I was able to go table over single out of the very far inside I
Mm.
was on a Cowie 450. So it just kind of felt like racy.
Yeah.
So it kind of made me feel like good about myself again a little
Hmm.
bit. It's just been so, it just feels like it's been so long
That's what I'm
since
saying.
I've been
So
able to rail a corner or
yeah.
scrub a jump or just anything.
So you're kind of in the same boat as me. We're like essentially
Yeah.
on the couch for a while. I mean, even when you do classes, you're not riding as much because you're focused on your students, right? So what do you do? Obviously, you don't have an injury you're coming back from, but like what do you do? And what would you recommend that the rest of us do who are coming off an injury or coming off of I've been on the couch for 8, 9, 10, however long, how many months? Like, what's your approach there, and what kind of advice do you have for someone like in that position?
Yeah, the trick your mind plays on you is you have the memory of how you used to do the thing. And so then
Hmm.
it creates an expectation for yourself and it will ruin your time. So this is the same struggle I have getting back into working out if I haven't been in the gym in a while, because like if you go to the dumbbell chest press, you remember how much you were putting up last time, or if you went to the pull-up bar, like how many pull-ups you did when you used to be working out at the gym, right? I used to be able to do like 50 pull-ups or some insane. Actually, no, you don't. My dad and I had a pull-up competition at the shop, and whatever the number was, it was very, very high. But this was only like a year and a half ago. If I went to the gym
Hmm.
now, I could do 10, but there's no way I could do more than 10.
Yeah.
If I hopped on the road bike right now, after not having been cycling for 2.5 years, your mind is going to trick you and want to discourage you because it's going to think about where you used to be. And I guess you just have to do what you can to place your focus on not that.
Yeah.
Not that. No expectations. Try to, in fact, do the exact opposite and try to just like tempo yourself into a pace, tempo yourself into a flow. And instead of forcing and just trying to go a speed that feels just straight up uncomfortable and you're going to make it even less of a fun time, start by going extra slow. Like start by going so slow to where you feel it almost feels too slow. And then each corner, each session, each section, whatever you're doing at the time, you just slowly build into it. I will say I've gotten good at that because when I demonstrate, that's what I do. When I demonstrate, I ride at 30%, 40% at most. So I'm very, very used to now, after the last few years of coaching, riding at 20 or 30%. And I think that most people, when they hop on a dirt bike, they're used to going 90 or 100%, and that's it. Anything less than that feels like they're not being productive, or like they shouldn't even be out there in the first place. Maybe they feel silly. I don't know what it is, but it's not easy because you have memories of how you felt. You have memories of what that corner should feel like and what that scrub should feel like and what that lap time should be. It's that's a difficult thing, and it makes people procrastinate. That's why I haven't hopped on that's why my road bike is sitting 15 feet away from me on the other side of that door. It's a brand new, really expensive Scott foil that was probably $8,000, and I rode it twice because it's easy to procrastinate because I know my FTP used to be 325 watts, and I felt like I was king of the world on my road bike, and now it's probably 112 watts.
If that. Yeah. Dude, I've got a Specialized on my wall that has 1 mile on it. So yeah, because I'm afraid I don't want to go back and be like, dude, I used to freaking crush, however many miles. Now not so much.
Yeah, it's eliminating expectation and just enjoying the process. Like I guess any good advice, right? Dave, what else is new? Oh, can we real quick? Do you have another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Can we end it with 1, 2, 3, 4? Can we end it with 5 podcast questions from inside the app?
Let's go. For sure.
Cool. So #podcast questions. If you're inside of the Moto Academy app, you can submit these with this hashtag. We'll get to them eventually. Sometimes it might take 6 months. Sometimes it might take 6 days. Sometimes it might take 6 hours. But you know what, guys? We love the community in there. We got some good people asking these questions tonight. Get in the app.
Please.
Dave Drake's, it's freaking popping.
It really is. And I have to give a shout out and a thanks to everybody that reaches out to not only AJ but myself about liking these pods, as well as like just championing our content. This every time AJ posts something, you guys are in the live streams, you guys are talking to us, you guys are interacting, asking questions of the guests. You guys are flooding me with DMs, and I apologize if I can't get to them super fast, but I appreciate everyone that's like, hey, how do I do this? How do I get a sponsor? What are some cool promo codes? So shout out to all you guys, all the videos that I posted about the different reviews of boots, and you guys are just eating that stuff up, and we're so grateful. And we really appreciate all the love that you guys are showing us. Myself, AJ, the other coaches, the content creators, we really appreciate you guys.
I obviously, being the CEO of the business, I keep a super close eye on just all of the analytics, right? So typically, I don't know if I've told you this on the podcast before, but typically when you do a big campaign like a trip giveaway, you would see a spike in subscriber count for the week or let's say the last week that you're running that campaign. And then it is very, very typical for after you choose the winner and that campaign ends, for the next 7-day numbers to take a dive, right? You'd see an obvious dip. This was the first time ever that after a campaign ended, not just the following 7 days, but the following 14 days stayed completely consistent to the new subscriber count from the campaign itself, which is pretty amazing. So thank you guys. tomorrow, actually. So by the time this is out, we'll have filmed them. We are filming new courses out the wazoo. So I received a couple of comments actually this week of people like, hey, really want some new courses. We're going all in, and I'm going to film every single week. We're going to start filming these things, but I'm going to try to bust out 20 of them tomorrow. We're going to, for each section, this is kind of the concept. I feel like it will be really fun. We'll pick a section on the Supercross track. So let's say, the left-hand turn before the finish line. We'll work that section for 3 modules, a beginner, an amateur, and an expert version of that corner. So you have 3 different skill levels to build through for that same corner. And then for our social media presence, we're going to do a pro versus am on that section. So either cameraman Cam will show up, or we'll get Ethan geared up, and we'll do an entertaining version of pro versus am. What does it look like for a pro to hit that section and the am to hit that section? And the ad break for that video will be, hey guys, if you want to, level up like Ethan's trying to in this video, go to the Moto Academy app and you can watch the 5-course module on this left-hand corner.
I love that idea. Honestly, my pick would be Ethan, only because he really is approaching the sport from like a more of a newbie standpoint, and he's got the same bike as you, and he's really good on camera. Like he's humble, so he'll say he isn't, but Ethan for that series would be chef's kiss, man.
I agree. And it was cool to see Cam's progression. And now I think that Ethan's at that beginning point, and we can watch Ethan's progression now because he's just starting with us. And yeah, he's got the same exact Honda, the same TMA graphics on his bike. So it looks like we have kind of like this like team bikes almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, and what we're going to do is we'll attach badges to these courses in the app. So people will be able to earn badges when they complete each of these courses. So we can do fun things with that too. When they show up for open practices and races, you can there would be bragging rights,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. We've been doing really, we're having a lot of fun with the Lit Kit badges each week. We've been having so much fun, like looking at all the cool kits and all the people with their setup bike and everything like that. It's been really cool. And I've been trying to like hoard badges myself. I've been in the competition too. Like, man, I want to get a couple badges going.
On your profile, really has anybody awarded you with the different values? Have you seen that on your profile yet? I
got a lot of gratitudes. I honestly, I can't give them out like fast enough, man. I'm trying to give out some, but by the time I do that, I've got some coming in, and that's been a really cool aspect of it too, to really, instead of just a thumbs up, like, hey, I like your video, like, hey, you've been posting a lot about your journey. That I really appreciate that you're staying with it. You're consistent, you're passionate, that it's a really cool way to like give people that encouragement that they need to keep going. I love that.
Totally. And our plan is that the next trip giveaway will be chosen. We'll pick one of the 5 values that you can earn within the app. And we're going to pick the person that has the most points within that value. Right.
Gotcha.
And the only way you can do that is have other people recognize you with that value. So it's not like you can go in the app and just almost cheat the system and just like this and comment on that and try to just, milk your way through it. You have to, do what you got to do to really, what are the 5 values? So is charity one?
Gratitude,
patience maybe is one.
Patience, consistency, I think is one, or dedication. Yeah.
Perseverance.
But I like that. I like that method. So should we just get Jamie a frequent flyer card because he's gonna win all those, or how does that work?
Yeah, huh? Oh wow. I have 15 gratitude points. Holy cow, look at me go. So we got gratitude, patience, discipline, which is a good one, especially for just somebody that's trying to be consistently in here. Charity, and then growth.
Love that.
Growth is a good one. I've got 15 gratitudes. I've got 2 patience, 2 discipline, 3 charity, and I've got 4 growth. I'm just freaking killing it over here.
You're crushing it.
Thank you guys for recognizing me in all of those things. Oh, and you can click in and see who recognized you. That's cool. Didn't know that. And I've got 540 points accumulated. I'm going to go nuts tomorrow. I'm just going to be passing those out to everybody.
I have about 400 I have to give away.
Man. Okay. Well, tomorrow, I guess, guys, expect expect to get recognized in some different values. Dave, can you hear me? Because my AirPods just died.
I got you.
Okay, cool. Okay, podcast questions. Here we go. Cameron Bradshaw says, why do bikes pass pre-race sound check but fail post-race sound check? That's a good question. Dave, do you know the answer to that?
Yeah. Some pre-race, they usually do like a brand new packed muffler. So usually they sound a little bit more muffled by the end of race day, broken in. It's been running for a while. Also, they do have some tips and tricks, some inside knowledge of how to make the bikes quieter. I know a couple of teams. This is not just one particular team. It's been for years. They'll put a rag in the air box, some taped up, some baffling on the inside. They've done a few things here that make them a little bit quieter for that. But by the time you're ready to go race, you rip all that crap out and you go race. So I personally think it's a little bit dumb to have a post race and a pre race for that matter. If we're racing supercross, racing dirt bikes, they're loud. Sorry, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of different techniques that teams utilize to pass the first one, and then it's kind of tough to do it after the post race because you're really, all those things restrict power, restrict performance. So it's a little tougher to do. So one good trick that I know Greco uses is he'll have his wife go up and start talking to the guy at sound check and distract him a little bit. So that usually works. So his method is always have a pretty girl with you. That usually works. But yeah, over the years, people they stuff rags in the air box. They do this and that to make things a little bit more quiet and muffled. Pipes, this and that they change out, but it's hard to sneak past it after the race. So
what an inconvenience sound check has been for my whole pro race career.
Really, I mean, really is. And you've been on some teams where they've made power in those bikes. You know what I mean? And it's like, what a pain that you can't even get up there to ride it because it's a little bit louder. Like, yeah, it's a 250 that's fully massaged and it has to be loud. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, good question. Good question. Yeah. Let's see. Fat Header said, what would be the first 2 steps for someone to embark on self-growth / mindset? What would be the first 2 steps for someone to embark on self-growth?
Good question. Well, AJ's trying to read.
Dave, I can't read. What are my first 2 steps on learning how to read?
We need Moto Academy on phonics for those like AJ who are reading impaired.
To embark on self-growth and mindset. First 2 steps. Step 1, open-mindedness. Probably the most important one.
Yep.
Step 2, a mentor is definitely helpful. But I never really had a full-blown real-life mentor either. It was like more of my mentors came from my book. So open-mindedness and read a lot. I don't know. Dave, what would you say?
I'd say open-mindedness is a huge one. Just getting out of your stuck mindset, the one that you had before, and allowing yourself to be open-minded, which creates room for growth. You're getting more information. You're not turning things down like, this that you typically would that would hinder your growth or keep you stagnant. I think that's really good. And just identifying where your shortcomings are and that, that there's always a better way. I think that's a really helpful one. But yeah, you're right. The right books, the right people around you. I think we were lucky we had Rob around us when we were young adults. So having someone like a Rob, like Jay Cav, very lucky, knock on wood, that we've had great friends around us that all wanted to rise at the same time. Can't think of a single like close buddy that we've had over the years that have been close to our programs that have been, it's like Jeremiah wanted to grow with us, Mackenzie, Whitrock, everybody is on, the open-minded wavelength, so we've been really fortunate there, but those are some good fundamentals.
The key is without the open-mindedness, you wouldn't even be able to recognize that you need to grow, right? So It's like the foundation to it all is really trying to cultivate open-mindedness in everything that you do. There's a book I want to say, it's right behind me. Yeah, Principles by Ray Dalio. He has a concept in there that he calls radical open-mindedness. And I think I talk about that in our TMA mindset workshop as well. Yep, open-mindedness, good place to start,
Yeah.
fat header, and you are open-minded, so you got a good place to start.
Oh, for sure.
Next question.
Is a great author for things
Miller. Hans Miller. Hashtag podcast questions. What is the best way to lock in and calm myself down on the gate? Dave Drakes, what are your strategies on the gate?
Oh,
anything work for you?
Talking with my friends, keeping my mind distracted off of just like the gate itself, because the race wouldn't make me nervous. It's the everything that leads up to the gate drop that makes me nervous. Once the gate drops, I'm cool as a cucumber. I can do my thing, but all the anticipation beforehand. So I just remember like my first year in big bikes, I would just talk to my friends. I would try to like, say a prayer in my head and like visualize the track just a little bit, not nearly to the amount that I do now, but I would always try to distract myself to keep myself from overanalyzing, overthinking. I don't know if other people, they try to lock in and focus on themselves. They don't talk to anybody. I needed to talk to people or else I was going to go out of my mind, just insane with like my own thoughts that were just beating me down constantly.
That used to be what I did too. Yeah, because I needed that distraction. Yeah, and I needed to kind of like joke around and keep it light.
Yes, 100%. I remember Moto Town days. It would just be like the whole youth, whatever class we raced. I can't even remember, but like everybody would be buddies and we'd all like laugh and poke fun. And like that was some of the best racing because it took my mind away from that starting gate. I don't know, like staging to actually lining up, dude, that was some of the most scary, hectic, nerve-wracking. I wanted to throw up. I was nervous. I would go like, why am I here? Why do I do this sport? I hate this feeling. The minute the gate dropped, I was at home, Seriously, I hated it. I hated it, especially when you start like racing for points and racing for like championships and stuff. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Until the gate dropped.
Me too. Until the gate dropped. Me too. God, it was an awful feeling. And I had that for every single year of my pro career up until, the last season that I raced where I did finally enjoy it. And what that's caused by is by just being a little bit into the future. So when you're walking up to the gate, when you're lining up, when you're packing your gate, let's say all of that where you feel the worst, or even maybe an hour before that when you can't quite get your food down, because you just feel a certain type of way. It's because you're projecting yourself into the future just a little bit. You're worried about some hypothetical situation. You're worried about something you can't control yet. So the answer is try to do anything that you can to pull yourself back to that moment. If it is talking to other people and keeping it light and keeping it fun because you're just enjoying your time with your friends or family or your competitors while you're in staging, great. Because to call it a distraction, I guess, is one thing, but if you're doing it could also be pulling you into the moment, which is good. Because the work has been done, right? There's nothing else you're going to do at that moment. The 10 minutes walking up to the gate to do anything except for sabotage yourself, So it's like, just be there. The work has been done. If you need to focus on your breath and I know a lot of people struggle with that because as soon as they start to just focus on their breath, their mind's going here and they're thinking about this. But yeah, Hans, send me a message in the app if you need some tips. That was probably my weakest point with racing, and therefore it's something I've really tried to specialize in and learn as much as humanly possible about in the last 3 years. And I feel like I have quite a bit of knowledge on different tips for that. 2 more, Dave. 2 more.
Yeah.
And then I'm going straight to sleep.
Just gonna cozy up on the chair.
I'm sleeping in the podcast room. It's 9 p.m. right now, just for reference, guys. So if I look tired, today was Easter Sunday. I went to my dad's family and my mom's family with Millie, and she was wide open all day long. So I'm tired. Loki Hampton. Shout out Loki Hampton with the podcast question. Do you think the pros on 450s could benefit from riding a 250 or even a 125 through the week to help with intensity, roll speed, etc.? Well, yeah, maybe. Depending on what that person needed at that time. Trust me, there's been plenty of times where I've been racing a 450 and I've practiced on a 2. There's been times where I've raced on a 2 and practiced on a 4. Yeah. When I rode for the KTM team in 2012, I raced on a 250 and practiced on a 350. That was just more so my race bike was so built up that they just gave me a stock 350, and that was the kind of what they consider to be equal. But yes, where that could hurt you is it's hard to jump back and forth, especially when you're talking supercross where everything is so gear specific that when you go bounce back and forth between a 450 and a 250, everything is in a different gear.
Yes. Yep.
And so it takes a little bit of time to adapt to that.
Yes.
I maybe agree. A little bit easier in outdoors, but still tricky because like you're different gears. Yeah.
Yeah. The different gear setup. And that's why I asked you, even when you were going over the TMA Supercross, I was like, what gear are you hitting that in? Because I know if you're in, third wicked, I'm like, all right, so for me that'd be second half throttle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just the difference in approach, the difference in body positioning too, like coming up to a 3-in on a 250 versus a 450, not nearly as an aggressive body positioning standpoint. It's not nearly as effortful on the 450. You know what I mean? So you're still seat bouncing probably, but it's not like you're seat bouncing and then you have to get over the top because it's the throttle's wide open and you have to click up. It's a little bit differently. Your mind slows down a little bit too on the 450, I feel like. But as somebody that's looking to improve on a 250, riding a 450 and just feeling how you can just do things at higher speed, I think it almost forces you to like have that like, okay, I need to go faster. This bike feels slow because I've been riding this other one for so long. I'm used to hitting corners at this speed. So I almost want to go faster on the 250 through this one corner. So stuff like that, I can see it. But there's some areas and some instances where I feel like it would be really weird. And I remember my dad trying to make me ride my KX 125 at the same time as like my Yamaha YZ 250 or something, 4-stroke. And I was like, I hate this. These are I'm doing two different sports. Like he's like, well, you got to figure out how to. I'm like, Dad, it's not gonna work like that. Like I'm in 6th gear wide open, just trying to get down the start straight. I'm in 3rd gear maybe on the 2. Like, Dad, this is a different world. So like stuff like that, I hated it. But it's for some people, I think it makes a big difference. Which also, side note, we have to get the Tonys on here at one point, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just to hear them talk about like their experiences with racing, like I would love that.
We'll just step aside and just let both Tonys just talk on the podcast. We'll just give them some pre-podcast notes to kind of stick to the topics.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, because what you were just saying made me. My dad, I showed up to a race one time and raced the 50, the 65, and an 85 class.
Oh, slow down, Alessi. Jeez.
Probably the only time in the history of the sport that's ever been done.
No, dude, 50, Alessi used to go 60, 80, 125, and I think 125 open or something like that. He used to do dude, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I swear I saw in a video where it was either 50, 60, 80 super mini or something like that, or it was like 65, 80, 125 or something stupid like that, or 85, 125 to 54, 50, something stupid. It was like hilarious. 4 different classes.
Yeah. That sounds like a Cat and Zero or an Alessi thing to do. Definitely.
Yeah. So like what was that like, having to go 50, 60, 80?
Well, I mean, impossible probably. I don't know. And I would have been 7 years old, I think, at the time.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Your 50s were fast though. You had fast 50s.
Yeah. So I would have been in 50. I would have been in 65A and I would have been in 85B. Right. And I think that I don't know if they even let me race or not. But I'm pretty sure that if they did after the race, they were like, you can't be in the 65A class and be racing a 50, or you can't be in the 85B class and still be out there in the 50. This isn't right.
I do remember they allowed the 65A kids in 85B, but yeah, if you're 65A, get your butt off of 50. Because that 65A, especially back then, the things that ripping, and not like going fast for a 60, just going fast for any dirt bike. And there's no jump that this local New England 65A class wasn't doing, except for the Intimidator at Jolly.
Yeah, because I think I was doing the table to table at Winchester Supercross on my 65. I think
exactly. Yeah. Get your butt off of 50. Give those little kids a chance. just scrubbing by a PW50 kid who's like learning the brakes, like I can do it, and AJ's just like a complete jerk.
Get out of my way.
Oh, I hate that.
All right, last question. We'll keep it quick here. Peter Estavine said, tell us which pro riders you think make a Supercross track look straight. Let's say which keep the biggest momentum.
I have one guy.
Oh, okay. Who?
Tomac. The amount of momentum, he may not be the fastest guy on the track. You know, Sexton is definitely a fast rider. Roxon's a fast rider. But if you want to talk about keeping momentum through a section, I've seen Tomac go through some corners that just, I'm like, dude, how you might touch the brake, you hear a little bit of a squeal. It's a tap, and he is on the gas so much before the apex that I'm like, there's no logical way that you are getting traction right here. Like, how are you getting traction? And you're not just, I'm on the gas. He is like wide open on the 450. It baffles my mind how he's able to keep the momentum. So that if we're talking momentum wise, I have to go with Tomac.
Yeah, and when you watch especially when you get a chance to watch a Supercross or a Moto race, pro race in person, I think that's the one thing that's the most shocking. I was even watching it in the little bit of time I had to see in person at MetLife this weekend. Mm-hmm. They connect the dots so quickly. So well. From end of rhythm lane to your braking zone to the first part of the corner to the exit of the corner. It's like seamless. It's seamless. And we talked about it. I talked about it on a live stream with Cade, right? What's the difference between a 12th to 15th place guy and a 5th to 7th place guy? And it's that when you see the levels up at the pro ranks and the difference between those pros and somebody at the amateur gate at your local race, it's those guys can go fast for short spurts, and there's no question. But the way that they connect the dots through the end, it's just like, it looks like they're on a roller coaster ride. And that's I guess that's the hardest thing, because your eyes have to be moving so quickly to be able to keep up with that. And that's for me, when I start trying to go fast like that, my eyes almost, that's where I struggle. My eyes can't keep up. Yeah. It's like I almost can't process it quick enough. Like, okay, well, I can get through this one corner, but then shoot, I stumble when I get to this next spot because I didn't think far enough ahead. I didn't look far enough ahead. Yeah. Those guys just connect the dots so quick. I even saw a time qualifying lap of Cooper Webb this last weekend, and I was blown away because he jumped through the whoops and it didn't look spectacularly fast, right? But the way he just, after the whoops, dives into the corner, and there was like no braking, I mean, it was just, he's in the corner and out of the corner. Yeah. 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 So that's nuts. There's levels to it. And definitely. That's where that time is made. Jump for show, corner for dough. Oh, it's all about that momentum. And on that note, shout out Driver Jamie, the one person still listening to this podcast an hour and 34 minutes in, episode 135 at 9 p.m. at night. And now I'm going to go to sleep, Dave Drex.
I think we both need to. Oh, goodness.
Anything else? Is that it?
I think that's about it. Shout out to everybody who makes this possible.
Shout out Driver Jamie. Shout out Alley Cat and her recipes in the fitness and nutrition space inside of the app. Shout out Matt Flood. He finishes his, what's it called? Police Academy. He's finishing the academy this week. Yep. So he's going to be back taking a deep dive in the app, which is cool. So Matt Flood could help with some fitness and nutrition stuff as well. We got Cole inside of the fitness and nutrition space helping out. We've got Coach Alessandro, Coach Ty, Coach Mitchell, myself. We got Cade.
Coach Grant.
We got Coach Grant. We've got Jackson and Dave doing their podcast. We got Ethan doing his live stream. There's a lot going on in the app. So go to themotoacademy.com and subscribe, and I'm going to bed.
I've got a bunch of product reviews coming out for you guys too, usually every week, every 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that as well.
In the app?
Inside the app, yes, sir.
Cool. And if you want, go to thecollectivexp.com. I don't know why you would, but if you want to just take a peruse over there, you can.
You know what's so funny is I remember we used to do those ads for the collective, and he'd be like, I don't know why you would, but also be like, yeah, we need to get more people through this program. Dude, we used to, I miss the beginning of like the collective and TMA, man. There's just some fun days.
Yeah. Young and
really
dumb.
Fun days. Young and dumb.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Toodles.